Joe's a perfect fit for us, and the fact that, he's a winner. He's played in a lot of big games. He has a lot of good football left in him at 34 years old. Feel like he's just really coming into his prime. So we're excited the fact that he's going to be our quarterback.
You know, if John Elway was part of this show, he'd be fined for calling Joe Flacco a winner. You're not supposed to call a quarterback a winner. A quarterback either plays well or he doesn't. And Flacco at times, guys, has played well, but it feels like it's been a long time since we've seen the best of Joe Flacco. Peter, you spoke to John Elway. What does Elway see in this guy? And really, why did he draft Drew Lock if he sees so much in Joe Flacco?
There's a couple of things, Mike. First of all, I want to tell you exactly what happened in the Denver Broncos scouting process and exactly what happened with the 10th pick in this draft, because that provides some clarity about exactly where they are right now. First of all, when they went through the scouting process, they liked these quarterbacks. They were not absolutely in love, had to have with any one of them. Drew Lock was the number one quarterback on their board in this draft. But they were determined, especially last week, after watching Flacco throw the ball in minicamp, and Vic Fangio, don't forget that Fangio has a major role. Elway trusts him a lot, both watching quarterbacks and trying to defend against quarterbacks. Fangio, formerly on the Baltimore staff when Flacco was there, really likes Flacco's mindset and his arm. So Fangio said, look, I am all in with Joe. You don't have to take a quarterback. And that really kind of sculpted what the Denver Broncos were going to do at number 10. Now, let's go to the 10th pick in the draft. If they had stayed right where they were, they would have taken Michigan's Devin Bush, the guy who they traded out to Pittsburgh to take. So people say, well, wait a second. If they wanted Devin Bush, why didn't they just take him there? They were trading it to a team that ended up taking Devin Bush. Why did they do that? It's because they didn't feel like Devin Bush was the perfect player for Vic Fangio's system. Though they would have taken him and they would have liked him, they didn't love him either. So they figured, let's trade down. They got a 3 in 2020. They got Pittsburgh's 3, and they get Noah Fant, the tight end, at number 20. Now, the first round is over. I spent about 10 minutes with Elway after the first round, and I basically said, wow, I really thought you might try to trade up because I had heard you really like Drew Lock. And when he's there, all those teams at the end of the first round want to trade out. Why didn't you trade up? And he goes, we just like Joe so much. We just didn't really feel the need to bring the guy in and to trade up and to use draft capital to take the quarterback at number 30 or 31. So the next morning he comes in, he and Matt Russell, his director of player personnel, and they start talking and they say, man, you know, the value on Drew Lock is so good right now. They take Dalton Risner, number 41, and then make a trade up to 42 with Cincinnati to get Drew Lock. It isn't because they don't like Flacco or don't think Flacco's going to play the next couple of years. It is only because they're saying at 42, if we can get the best quarterback on our board, we have got to get him right here.
Yeah, it was a great move by them. I mean, really. I mean, yes, it was a little luck, but they got the future of their franchise and a guy that, yeah, I mean, I think we all thought Elway was hot on Drew Lock from the Senior Bowl on. I mean, that's all the rumors you heard in the NFL. You know, add to the fact that he has a skill set that fits what they do on the offensive side of the ball, Drew Lock, as far as Rich Scangrello, who comes from the Kyle Shanahan offense with the play actions and the boots. So I'm sure that's why they like Drew Lock, because he is a phenomenal athlete. He can fit in that offensive system, you know, in a lot of ways. Also, I think that's why they like Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, I think everybody's got to remember, has experience in this system too, right, guys? He was with Gary Kubiak a few years ago in Baltimore, the year they, you know, went up to New England and lost the divisional playoff game. There's still good years left in Joe Flacco. I don't always like the criticism that surrounds him. You know, again, he played for a football team that was not that great the last 2 years, didn't have great offensive firepower around him. I would question some of the offensive minds he had around him orchestrating his offenses, and I could see why John Elway and Vic Fangio like some of the things Flacco brings to the table. He has played in a lot of big-time football games. I mean, first 7 years he brought his team to the playoffs. There's something to say about that, and he was pretty awesome in the Super Bowl too, but I think his skill set fits, and he's still a pretty good athlete for his age, and his arm is still special, and I think that's probably what Fangio and Elway see in Flacco's game at this point.
Yeah, Chris, your dad was pretty awesome in the Super Bowl as well, but nobody's signing him now. I mean, it was a long time ago that Flacco was awesome in that Super Bowl. I think that's the problem. Recently, he hasn't been great. They see something there, and I think the key ingredient is going to be staying healthy. You don't want to give Drew Lock an opening. And, guys, there's an interesting comparison here down the road. Daniel Jones, number 6 overall to the Giants. Drew Lock, number 42 to the Broncos. If Lock ends up being the better quarterback, the already salty Giants fans are going to be extra salty, but
definitely.
that's 3 or 4 seasons away.
Yeah, I think the one point to make about comparing these two guys, Mike, is that this was very much a quarterback beauty in the eye of the beholder draft. Okay, why does John Elway like Locke over Jones? Why does he like Locke over Haskins? You got to ask them, and you have to go through the process with them. And that's why Dave Gettleman's getting killed. But Dave Gettleman isolated and was myopically convinced that this was his guy. And as he told me on Sunday, he said, we'll find out if I'm crazy in 3 years.
We'll take a look at Mike Mayock's first draft with the Raiders when PFT Live continues right after this.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.